So the Bank of Canada has cut interest rates by 50 basis points as of today. So now we're sitting at 3.25% as a Bank of Canada main interest rate. And the first part of the story is just they were talking about this on question period in Parliament. So Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservatives, has kind of used this rate cut as ammunition against Liberal leader and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, saying that look at how bad Trudeau is. He's mismanaged the economy, and the Bank of Canada is forced to do a panicked rate cut of 50 basis points, right? Because 50 basis points is 25 as a whole 25 basis points higher than the normal pace of cutting. Usually when the central bank cuts, they try to do it in like small steps, right? 25 basis points at a time. But this time they did a mega size one, 50 basis points at the same time. So a lot of people are saying that this is because they're panicking, right? Because the economy is not doing well. So they're trying to lower interest rates as fast as they can without breaking things, such that, the economy can survive. So this is kind of the point that Pierre is pushing on. And then the Liberals are pushing back, saying that no, like rate cuts are good. Like this is going to make the Canadian economy better. It's going to spur growth and it's going to make the cost of living better for Canadians. And Pierre is just trying to capitalize on people's anger right now, but things are actually getting better. I watched this video of Global News of a clip of this interaction. And when Pierre stood up and said the phrase panicked rate cut, there was actually a lot of laughter that came from the Liberal bench because, the Liberal MPs are trying to, or they're not trying, but they're kind of reacting to this like Pierre told a joke. That's like he's trying to spin this into something. But maybe there is something here, right? Like, do you guys think this is a panicked rate cut? Do you guys think that the Canadian economy is in trouble? Like, are you more on the side of, the Pierre's point where a panic rate cut is like, this is a panic rate cut and this is not like a good signal for the Canadian economy? Or, is there any truth to what Trudeau said about, the economy it's gonna be better soon, and then they're doing all this good stuff for Canadians, and you just have to trust Trudeau to drive the ship for a little bit longer, and then things are gonna go back up because the rates are coming down. So, what's your kind of reaction to this whole rate cut?
I think that the rate cut was higher than I think most people were expecting. So I feel like in some regard that does suggest that it was more of a reaction than a intended planned process. So I think that there might be some validity to that perspective. I don't think that it's laughable to suggest that they aren't reacting more aggressively than they maybe were originally planning to because of new information that they've received with regards to the economy. So I think that makes a lot of sense from my perspective. But I think, on that front, I don't think this is a sign that the Canadian economy is doing incredible. There's another factor on that side.
On that note, do you find it insulting that the Liberals are laughing at this idea of panic rate cut, right? And I know like maybe this is a little bit of a loaded question, but I'm genuinely trying to get kind of your sense, right? Because this is not the first time the Liberals have tried to quote unquote take credit for a Bank of Canada rate cut, even though theoretically it's supposed to be like kind of an independent decision that's made by the Bank of Governors, and the MPs are not supposed to try and influence like that part. But the Liberals are like, hey, like interest rates are down. This means that our like economic plan is working. And Pierre, when he gets up and he says, this is a panic rate cut, like everyone starts laughing. Like maybe some people will find that a little bit offensive, but I don't know what kind of your opinion on this is.
Yeah, I don't think it's offensive. I think it's just kind of they're it just doesn't speak to a strong degree of them being super checked into what's going on, honestly. Just because I feel like it's hard for me to go that there isn't a chance of a panicked rate cut. Like I feel like on their front, acting like this is all part of the plan, as if they had such a clear plan on this whole front this whole time. I think that's pretty disingenuous. They've just been reacting this entire time. The whole time, the Liberals are not the reason that rates are coming down. They shouldn't. They don't really deserve credit for that, I would say. It's just the whole way the cycle happens. Inflation increases. Eventually, inflation stops increasing because there is not as much inflation occurring. Rates no longer have to be as high. Therefore, rates come down. It's a whole part of the inflationary cycle. The Liberals didn't do anything except for contribute to the rates increasing in the first place, which is essentially just, not, I wouldn't say it's like a good thing, generally speaking. I don't think we are usually like, wow, we should all have rates increase, but at the same time, that is what needed to happen in order to reduce the inflation. So yeah, that pretty much covers it. Maybe I might be walking myself into a corner on some of these, but my brain's not fully functioning.
I don't know. It's like question period is so stupid sometimes. They just have such silly conversations because we all know the Bank of Canada is like independent from both Pierre and Trudeau. There's nothing the Liberals did to make the rates come down faster. They didn't like cut spending or like pay down the deficit. That's the kind of thing you have to do to make rates come down faster. I think that one aspect of it, if you're gonna like not get into the whole they're panicking mentality, is that inflation in Canada is flat at 2%. So like they have that ability to actually go a little bit more aggressive because we're not seeing an uptake in inflation. So why not make things a little bit affordable for Canadians? But at the same time, yeah, like when you have a surprise 50 basis point cut, like clearly the Bank of Canada is seeing weakness in the Canadian economy. I think they admitted that there was an uptick in unemployment that wasn't really was a little unexpected, so they are going a little faster. And I just assume that Canadians are really feeling the pressure in terms of our mortgages and borrowing costs and stuff. So I think they're like the Canada's like household debt is crazy high right now. It's really like it's scary high. Like a lot of times Canada likes to like pat itself on the back that we saw like a AAA. The Canadian government wants to be like, yeah, we're still AAA, but when you actually count like Canada's total household debt, it's like staggeringly high. It's very scary, and when you have high rates for too long, it can be a disastrous situation for Canada. They don't have as many levers to pull as the Fed has, so I think that the Bank of Canada is front loading the rate cuts faster than the U.S. That does worry me though, because it hurts Canada's like bond competitiveness. But hopefully the U.S. follows our path and ends up going down to around 2% right around the time we get there. But yeah, like, is it a panic? I'm not sure if it's a panic necessarily. I think if it was a panic, they would actually just go back to zero and say, sorry guys, you're gonna feel inflation, but we have to like we're gonna have to like print money to keep the economy flowing. But it is certainly not a good sign. But I don't think it has anything to do with politics. It's silly to say that we should just stick with Trudeau so we can write. He's not writing any ships. He's just spending our money like a madman, and he's actually contributing to this problem more than anybody in government. So I'm never going to give Trudeau credit over this. That makes no sense. And I think Pierre's trying to use this for his own political advantage too, for sure. That's just how politics works.
No, but I would go one step further, is that like not only would I not give Trudeau credit for the rates coming down, the fact that he's trying to take credit for it, I find slightly offensive, right? Like what you said, Tristan, earlier, that like, okay, you said you didn't find it offensive, but you did find that them laughing at this idea that a rate cut is good, and like a panic rate cut is just such a preposterous idea because like Canada's doing well. It shows that like the Liberal bench, well, like all the famous MPs, the people that are in charge, not just Trudeau, but like all the ministers were in the front row and they were the ones laughing too. So it shows how out of touch they are, right? And it's that out of touch factor that really like, maybe like offend is too strong of a word. I don't want to seem like the guy who always gets triggered. It's a little cringy is what I would say instead, right? It's just it's like, hey, rates have come down again. This is because our economic plans are working. I swear that was like a real tweet. Not this time around, but I think the last time the Bank of Canada cut rates, that was a real tweet from the official Liberal Party of Canada Twitter account that like rates are coming down and this is thanks to our policies. I'm like, no, it's not. Like the rates are coming down because the Canadian economy is becoming more and more trash by the day, right? And then if you say that, they're like, oh, you're so unpatriotic. How dare you call the Canadian economy trash? It's like, well, just take a look around, right? Like ask the people that are actually like struggling to pay the bills and like and there's a lot of them. Ask them if they think the economy is trash and ask them like whether or not they think that is unpatriotic to say that, right? So it's just it irks me how like just the extent of how out of touch some of these like Liberal MPs are. And I'm not saying that like a conservative MP cannot be out of touch. There's probably like quite a few of them as well, but it's just right now the Liberals are in charge. That's the main problem, right? And the people that are in charge that have the power to influence things are like the most out of touch group of people that I've seen in a long time. But yes, Tristan, you wanted to say something.
It's basic. Trudeau taking credit for the interest rates coming down is like a fire burned down your house and then it rained and the fire was put out. And Trudeau went, I brought the weather. Look at my plan working. That's kind of like the vibe that I'm getting. It's like bad things happened, and if you want to go a step further, it's Trudeau lit a fire in his backyard and that fire spread to make a fire and that fire eventually burned down your house. If you want to go into the whole analogy, that's kind of like how it feels like. It's like you didn't really do anything, right? Like you're taking credit for something that just happens as part of a cycle, not actually something that you did that caused it. And I'm not gonna pat you on the back for something you didn't do. It's just you don't deserve the pat on the back. And that's kind of where I'm at on it too.